So page 17, you were given these 2 points. Remember the little strategy that I use is I write the subscripts above it so that I don't mix up the numbers. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So for the slope formula, you definitely need to know that formula. Sub it in, you'll get -1. Don't forget to reduce or simplify it at the end. The length of the line. So the length, aka distance formula. You also need to memorize this formula. So that's the formula. Don't make it your own. Other formulas don't work, okay? And then you'll get this. You can leave your answers as just root 72 or 6 root 2 or a decimal, that's fine. Anything like that is good. Midpoint formula, yep, that also you have to memorize. And since it's a midpoint, so you need the bracket. Your final answer is a coordinate because it's a point. So make sure you have those brackets and the comma in between. I've seen a lot of bad formats in the last in the past test. So make sure it's like by now you should have caught your mistakes, proper formats. And then lastly, to find the equation of the line, you need M, you need B. Well, we found M right here. Choose any one of these points, substitute it in to find B, and then put it together to form your equation. Remember, I don't want to see these type of final answers. Those answers will give you half a mark off. And also another thing is these abbreviations. So lowercase m is slope, uppercase m is midpoint. So remember that. Question?
Like how important is showing our work in the exam?
So if you just write right here m equals -1, if you are correct, you'll get the mark because I know that you can just do this in your head too. But if you do anything wrong and say like m equals -6, you won't get the half a mark because I don't know where that -6 came from. So it's a balance between, okay, I trust my answer, I know that I'm right, then I'm not going to show work, save some time. And a balance between if I show my work, I'll get half a mark if I get it wrong.
Yeah, so for the circle question, you only center it around like 0, 0. Does that mean like that's only going to be centered around 0, 0?
No, we did not 0.
HK.
Yeah, we did HK.
We did.
Yeah.
For question B, if you put y equals -1, x plus 1, will that also be a mark off?
No, that's fine. Yeah, so if you put -1 x plus 1, it doesn't look good, but it's fine. Right? Just don't do that next year because you might not have me as your teacher. Okay. And then number 2 right here. Oh, these, see, the circle question. So for 0, 0, you have x squared plus y squared equals 100. So just like in your comedy, a lot of you guys left it as the square. A proper equation is you have to square the radius. Okay, so this is not a good answer. You will lose half a mark for this. This is your proper answer for the equation of a circle. Same thing right here. The radicals, again, I'm not picking about the radicals because you learn about that in grade 11. So what you would do is you would just do 5 root 2 and then just square it and you'll get 50. Okay, so you could just write it like this, or 5 root 2 means the same thing as just root 2 times 5. That's what 5 root 2 means. Okay, and then when you square that decimal, you'll still end up with 50. Right, and then here's to your question, Aryan. So let's say I change the question up and say, given the radius is 5 and the center is -2, 3, what would your equation be? Yep.
X plus 2 squared
Good.
plus 1 minus 2 squared equals 25.
Perfect. Okay. So we did do the non-origin centers. So, and this is how we would write it. Notice if the center is -2, in the circle equation is +2.
So just like, can you solve that?
Solve? You don't need to solve. It's asking you for the equation of the circle.
Oh, that's just that.
Yeah, so that's just the answer. Okay, so given this kite, verify that the diagonals of the kite are perpendicular. So you just have to compare the slopes of the diagonal, and if it's negative reciprocal. If it is, that means it's perpendicular. What does the word bisect mean? Cut it in half. And in other words, for like half would be midpoint, right? And what in that case, then what is a perpendicular bisector? Yep.
Coming through the midpoint and a 90 degree.
Right. So midpoint and 90-degree slope. Okay. For my grade 9s, one of their last test question was define perpendicular bisector, and they said perpendicular at the midpoint. So for that answer, I took half a mark off because you don't want to use the same word in the same definition, right? So what is a perpendicular bisector? It's perpendicular at that. So, yeah, so use 90-degree or right angle, anything like that. So same thing for your final exam as well. If it asks you anything that you have to define for definition, don't use that word in your definition. Okay, on the back right here, ABC determined the equation for BD, the median from that. So I'll just draw the diagrams. I won't actually solve it. I'll draw it. Okay, so just a quick sketch. X, Y, 2, 1. That's A. 8, 3. 8, 3. That's B. And then 4, 7. 4, 7. That's C. So there's my triangle. And then the equation for BD, the median from B. So the median from B, meaning this, where does it go to? Of? Good. It goes through to the midpoint of AC. So you're trying to look for this equation. So the steps, first, find the midpoint of AC. Second, find the slope of BM. That's a lower case. There. Okay. And then third, put it into y equals mx plus b to solve for b, and then you will get your equation. Okay, so those are the 4 steps you need to do to find the equation of the median. An equation for CE, the altitude from C. So altitude from C. Okay, from C, how do I draw that? Yeah. Perpendicular line to AB. Good. So this red line right here. So do I need the midpoint of AB? No, because it's not at midpoint. Midpoint would be over here. So that's that. So my first step would be to find the slope of AB. Second step is to do the perpendicular slope of AB. Okay, so which would give me the slope of this line. And then using the perpendicular slope and point C to find B. And then lastly, put it into the equation. Okay. So that's that. And then right bisector of BC. I don't have enough. Oh, I do. I have a black pen. Okay. 3 different colors. So the right bisector of BC. How do I draw the right bisector of BC? Right. Does it have to go to A? Oh, good. All right, so that black line right there, and that's, it's not bad. Okay, so first step, find the midpoint between BC. Okay, second step, find the slope of BC. Okay, and then third step, find the perpendicular slope of BC. Okay, using the perpendicular slope and the midpoint to find B in y equals mx plus b. And then you will get your equation using the m and the b. Okay. I think for all of these, the trickiest part is knowing which points to use. So let me using m. Using m. Okay. So when the trickiest part, I think, for all of these is knowing which point to use and putting it into y plus mx plus b. So that's why a diagram is really good. So for example, for your median right here, the point that's on the median is either b or m. So I could use either b or m here. For the altitude, I need a point that's on this red line. So the point that's on this red line is point C. So I would use C. And then for the right perpendicular bisector, I want to use a point that's on this black line, and the midpoint is the only point that's on the black line that I know. So I would use M. Okay, so make sure you refer to your diagram to make sure that that point is on that line for you to be able to use it. Okay. 19. The vertices of a triangle, M is the midpoint of AB and N is the midpoint of AC, verify that they are parallel. So basically, you have something like this, and you're trying to prove that the two lines are parallel. So you would just find the slope of this line, find the slope of this line, and they should have the same slope. All right, that's it. Okay. And that MN is half the length of BC. So that means this length is half of this length right here. So you'll have to find the distance formula of MN and compare it with the distance formula to BC, and it should be twice as much. Okay, so the distance formula. Okay, and notice it says verify. So if it says in the question verify or prove that, it's telling you that it is. So in the final exam, I better not see you write, therefore they are not parallel. Because they're already telling you that it is parallel. Okay, so they're trying to tell you to prove it, solve it, and show that it is. So it doesn't make sense for you to say it is not. Okay, and then this last question. This last question is a very interesting question. Okay, I like this question, so I want to take this one up. Find the shortest distance from the point to the line x plus y equals 5. Express the distance as an exact value and as an approximate value to one decimal place. So just like when we did the circle properties, your shortest distance is always the perpendicular distance. Okay, so this is my line. So x plus y equals 5. When I rearrange it, I'll get this line, which is this right here. Okay, so if I want the perpendicular distance, I need this. So if my slope was -1, that means the perpendicular slope is 1. Okay, I have this point 5, 4. So I have a point, I have the slope, so I can do y equals mx plus b. I can find the equation of this perpendicular bisector. So sub into 4, sub into 1, sub into 5. And so when I rearrange it, I'll get that b is -1. So this, my perpendicular bisector right here, has an equation of y equal x minus 1. Okay, so the y equals x minus 1 is this line. Y plus, so, okay, right. The blue line is this equation. The red line is this equation. How do I find the intersection point? Yeah.
Since both are equal to y, x minus 1 is equal to negative.
Okay, what method did you use? Substitution, right? Substitution, elimination, or graphing. So let's do substitution. So you're basically given 2 equations, 2 unknown. So 2 equations, 2 unknown. I'm going to use the method of substitution. So x minus 1 equal -x plus 5. I substituted this in for the y right here. So when I move the things over, I get 2x equal, move that, so I get 6. So x equals 3. Okay. Now I can substitute this, sub x equals 3 into either equation. So let's say I sub it into equation 1 right here. Into equation 1. So y equal -3 plus 5. So y equals 2. So what is this point right here? What is the coordinate of this point? Yeah. 3, 2. Okay. So now I want to find the distance between these 2 points. Well, I have y4, I have 3, 2. So it's just doing the distance formula. Distance equals x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So 5 minus 3, 4 minus 2. So distance equals 2 squared is 4, 2 squared is 4. So distance is √8. This would be the exact value. You could also write this as 2√2. You could also write this as a decimal, 2.8. Okay. So that's what it means by express the distance as an exact value. So this is the exact value. So this radical. And then as 1 decimal place, it will be the 2.8. Okay. If you just leave it like this, or like this, or like this, it's fine. You'll learn that in grade. You'll learn that in grade 11. But this, can you break? What times what gives you 8? So, okay, so 4 times 2, right? 4 times 2, right? What is square root 4? 2. So that's why you can bring it out and it becomes 2√2. Oh. So now you know for grade 11. Yeah. Okay. So, and so there you go. So why I like this question is because we started chapter 1 with system of equation, and then the final question we had to do system of equation to solve this question. Okay, so we started with what we ended with. So it's like a circle of math. All right, and there you go, 20 pages, whole 20 pages. Don't forget, we did this breakdown. I showed you guys this, I think last week. So remember, there's total of 7 pages. There's 8 short answer questions with 27 marks, 4 full solution questions with 28 marks, and then 22 multiple choice questions with 22 marks. Sorry, Printique, only 22 multiple choice and not 100.
Okay.
Okay. And then so in terms of the timing, because I want you guys to be able to finish in time, I would say spend 30 minutes on short answer, 30 minutes on full solution, and then about 20 minutes on the multiple choice. That will give you 10 minutes to spare on questions that you skip, or give you 10 minutes to double check. Total is 70 marks. You have 90 minutes in total to do the whole test. All the formulas you are responsible for. Scrap paper, we will provide you. Calculator, you have to bring your own. Pencil, you have to bring your own. All right. Ruler, you don't have to bring a ruler, but it might be helpful when you do your triangles. And what else? Yeah, so that's that.